All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into something pretty fundamental. It powers almost all life on Earth. How in the world do plants eat sunlight?
So really, how does a simple leaf take a beam of sunlight and turn it into the energy for, well, everything? Let's follow that journey, right from the moment that light leaves the sun and hits a leaf. It's an amazing trip. Okay, so it all starts with this kind of sciencey sounding word, photoautotrophs. But don't worry, it's super simple. Photo means light, right? And autotroph just means self-feeder. So plants are literally light self-feeders. They make their own food using light to cook up chemical energy. But before we get into how they use that light, we've got to ask, what even is light? Well, it's a form of electromagnetic radiation. It travels from the sun in these invisible waves, carrying all the raw power that basically runs our entire planet. And the key to understanding the power of these waves is something called wavelength. It's really just the distance from the top of one wave to the top of the next. It seems simple, but that single measurement tells you exactly how much energy that wave is packing. And here's the really important part. Shorter wavelengths have way more energy. Think about it like shaking a heavy rope. To make those short, tight, fast waves, that takes a ton of your energy. But making long, slow, lazy waves is pretty easy. It's the exact same for light. High-energy blue and violet light have short wavelengths, while the lower-energy red light has much longer ones. All the light we can see with our eyes is just this teeny tiny slice of the sun's full power. But for plants, that little slice is everything. It's their sweet spot. They have evolved to perfectly use this specific range of light, what scientists call photosynthetically active radiation, to run their whole operation. Okay, so the plant has its target energy source, but how does it actually catch it? Well, the magic isn't happening on the surface. We need to go deeper. Let's zoom way, way in. Imagine we could shrink ourselves down, like way down, and journey inside a single leaf. What we'd find is that it's not just one solid thing. It's made up of millions and millions of tiny cells, and each one is its own little factory, buzzing with activity. And if we go inside one of those cell factories, we find the power plants. These are even smaller structures called chloroplasts. And these little green engines, this is where the action is. This is ground zero for photosynthesis. Okay, so if we zoom in even further on those chloroplasts, we see they are just stuffed full of things called pigments. Now, these aren't just for making things look pretty. Nope, these are highly specialized molecules, basically engineered for one job, to absorb light energy. The two big names you need to know are chlorophylls and carotenoids. And how these pigments work actually answers a classic question, one I'm sure you've asked before. Why are leaves, well, green? It's funny. The answer isn't about what the leaf absorbs, it's about what it rejects. See, that main pigment, chlorophyll, is an absolute rock star. It's soaking up blue and red light. But green light? It wants nothing to do with it. It's basically useless, so it just reflects that green light away. And that reflected light is what travels to our eyes, making the leaf look green to us. We're seeing the color that the plant threw away. Okay, so now we know why leaves are green. It's all about rejected light. But what happens to the light that is absorbed? Let's follow a single packet of light, a photon, and see how these pigments, all organized in these incredible structures, actually capture it and put it to work. Right, so these pigments aren't just swimming around in there randomly. That would be super inefficient. No, they are meticulously organized into these structures called photosystems. The best way to think of them is like a whole field of tiny biological satellite dishes, all designed to catch light and beam that energy down to one single important spot. And here's how that works. A photon of light smacks into one of the outer antenna pigments. That molecule instantly gets super excited, it's buzzing with energy. But it doesn't hold on. It immediately passes that energy. And this is key, just the energy, not any physical part, to the pigment next door. It's like a game of molecular hot potato, passed from one to the next, getting funneled down to a special reaction center. And this whole relay, it happens in about a millionth of a second. Just incredible. Okay, so the energy has been collected and focused into that reaction center. Now the real work begins. The plant is about to put that energy to use on a microscopic assembly line. This is where that fleeting light energy gets turned into real, stable, usable chemical energy. First stop on the assembly line, a complex called photosystem 2. The light energy that's been focused here is now so intense, it does something amazing. It literally rips an electron away from water molecule. And the byproduct of this violent act? Oxygen. That leftover oxygen is just waste for the plant, so it releases it. Think about that for a second. This one microscopic step is where basically all the oxygen in our atmosphere comes from. So that newly freed high-energy electron doesn't get a break. It's immediately passed down the line to the next station, a complex that works like a tiny pump. It uses the electron's energy to grab hydrogen ions, which are basically just protons, and pump them across a membrane, trapping them in a little storage area. Now, after powering that pump, our little electron is getting a bit tired. It's lost some of its energy. So, when it arrives at the next major station, photosystem 1, it gets another jolt. A second photon of light hits it, re-energizing it completely. This newly supercharged electron is then used to charge up a special carrier molecule, creating something called NADPH. You can think of this as the plant's first fully charged rechargeable battery. Okay, but wait, while all that was happening, what about all those protons we pumped into that storage area? Well, they're getting really, really crowded in there. They're building up and creating this massive pressure, a powerful gradient. It is exactly like water piling up behind a giant dam, just storing up a huge amount of potential energy, waiting to be released. And there's only one way out for all those protons. They have to flow through this absolutely spectacular molecular machine called ATP synthase. And as they burst through, they force this thing to spin, just like water spinning a turbine in a dam. And that spinning motion, it generates huge, huge quantities of ATP. This is the plant's second rechargeable battery. And it's not just any battery. ATP is the universal energy currency for pretty much all life on Earth. And just like that, the job is done. The energy from that sunbeam, which was just fleeting light a moment ago, has now been successfully captured and stored in two stable, useful chemical forms. We've got our two molecular batteries, ATP and NADPH. They are fully charged up and ready to go, and they're going to power the whole next stage of photosynthesis, which is building the actual sugar, the food. It's just amazing, isn't it? This microscopic engine running silently inside every green leaf is what powers almost all life on our planet. It makes the food we eat, the oxygen we breathe. It makes you wonder, right? What other incredible wonders are hiding all around us, just in plain sight? Thanks for watching.